Part 17. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 161. Sci-Lu couldn't help but shrugged and smiled when he heard this. Okay. Since they were far away, no one could hear what they were saying. Lin Baojun was hanging on the tree and was feeling uncomfortable. Suddenly, he saw Yingwan coming over, and his eyes lit up immediately. After all, he had seen Yingwan's appearance on the live broadcast. Now that he recognized her, he immediately shouted excitedly, "Sister, sister, second sister." The voice was so shrill and the tone was so strong that it was impossible to ignore it. The moment Yingwan wanted to turn her head down, Sci-Lu stretched out his hand to block her side view. "I told you not to look at it, it will dirty your eyes. I will have someone move him to another place to hang him, and I guarantee that he won't harass you." He had a meaningful smile on his lips and asked the bodyguard to move Lin Baojun to another place. Yingwan really didn't even look at Lin Baojun, and turned around and left. Lin Baojun was dumbfounded. He called miserably from behind, "Second sister, second sister." Unfortunately, Yingwan ignored him. When he saw these people approaching him, he thought they were going to let him down. In the end, they put him down, but carried him up the mountain. The back mountain was full of trees, and even if they heard the sound in the woods, not many people would go there. It was a quiet place. Lin Baojun screamed like a pig being slaughtered, but unfortunately no one paid attention to him. Lin Baoxi was still a little shocked to see Yingwan ignored Lin Baojun. She thought that this second sister would at least say something for the sake of brother and sister, but she was completely out of the matter. However, she was being watched now, and she dared not say a word. She could only watch Lin Baojun being carried into the back mountain. Then he was hung on the tree again. Lin Baojun cried and screamed, and the whole process was recorded on video. An hour later, he was put down, and Lin Baoxi and others were packed up and sent away. Sci-Lu still had some conscience, because he sent someone to send Lin Baojun away. However, two people were watching Lin Baojun on the left and right, and Lin Baoxi could only sit stiffly in the passenger seat. The driver was also Sci-Lu's people. The two did not even dare to make trouble, and were driven out of the village. After Sci-Lu had the people get out, he went to find Yingwan in a very good mood. She was teasing Xiao He in the yard, and Sci-Lu went over and said, "I thought you would at least say that I would let him go for your sake." Yingwan looked up, with a puzzled expression. "What does it have to do with me? He offended you, not me." Sci-Lu laughed, "But he is your brother, don't you think it's a bit too much for me to punish him like this?" Yingwan spoke lightly, "Then why should you let him go for my sake? He and I are only tied by blood, but apart from this layer of genes, he and I have nothing to do with each other. Who he offended or provoked, what he has to suffer is his own business, and has nothing to do with me." Touching Xiao He's dog head, it lay down beside Yingwan obediently and rolled over. Sci-Lu smiled very brightly at this moment. "I know. He had some reservations before, but now that Yingwan has made it clear, what else does he need to be cautious about? With his temper, the matter of humiliating Lin Baojun is not over. The Lin family will definitely be furious and come to cause trouble again. After all, they don't know who Sci-Lu is, and they will definitely think that Lin Baojun encountered a gangster in the village. Sci-Lu is waiting for this opportunity. He knows what the Lin family's attitude is. How can he accept that the person he holds in his heart is despised like this? I am not in good condition today, so I will update 1 chapter first, and 7 chapters tomorrow during the day. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 162. At the Lin family, Lin Baojun and Lin Baoxi were taken directly onto the plane. Lin Baojun didn't dare to compare himself during the whole process. He was afraid that someone next to him would beat him to death on the spot. Sci-Lu didn't know what means he used, not only to take him onto the plane, but also to arrange a first-class cabin for him. Is it very presentable to go back? Of course, Lin Bao-jun had put on his clothes on the way, but he looked terrified, and no one came up to ask him if something happened, otherwise he would have a chance to ask for help. Now no one asked him, he didn't dare to say anything. Until he got off the plane and arrived at the gate of the Lin family in the middle of the night, the people who came directly through Lin Bao-jun at the door of the Lin family villa. The servants of the Lin family felt a little strange when they heard the knocking on the door in the middle of the night. After opening the door, they saw that it was Lin Bao-jun and Lin Baoxi, who looked like she was about to cry, and they were stunned. "Mom, Mom!" Lin Bao-jun couldn't help crying when he got home, and cried like a mourner. His movement directly alarmed the whole family. Grandma Kui Ziyufang and Grandpa Lin Jiangguo put on their clothes and went downstairs. Seeing Lin Bao-jun making a scene in the living room, they immediately felt distressed. Kui Ziyufang hurried over and hugged Lin Bao-jun and shouted, "Hey, darling, what are you doing? You haven't told Grandma where you went today." I was bullied." If it were any other time, Lin Bao-jun would feel ashamed, but this matter was really a great shame. He had no choice but to tell the people at home. He immediately complained to Kui Ziyufang, "I went to find my second sister, but I met a psychopath who bullied me." Lin Bao-jun cried loudly, and Lin Jiangguo next to him looked a little depressed. "What's the matter? Why did you go to find your second sister? Stand up and make your words clear first." Lin Jiangguo usually dotes on this grandson, but compared to doting, he still has to manage such a large family business, so he is still strict with Lin Bao-jun. At home, the only thing Lin Bao-jun was afraid of was this grandfather. Hearing this, he stood up and continued to cry, which made Kui Ziyufang very distressed. She waved at Lin Jiangguo, "Why are you so mean to him? He is crying like this. My God, I don't know how much injustice my baby has suffered." Lin Baoxi, who was standing by, bit her lip. She also came home, but her grandmother Kui Ziyufang didn't even look at her. She only cared about Lin Bao-jun. Lin Jiangguo put his eyes on Lin Baoxi and suddenly became more severe. "Baoxi, did you go out with your brother?" Lin Baoxi was also afraid of this grandfather and nodded gently. Lin Jiangguo asked her to explain what happened. As they were talking, Yu Wenzi and Lin Jiarui also came down in their pajamas. They woke up immediately after seeing the farce in the living room with sleepy eyes. "What's going on?" Lin Bao-jun saw Yu Wenzi and howled, "Mom!" Yu Wenzi also came over distressed. "What's wrong, Bao-jun?" At this moment, the Lin family's mobile phones rang, as if they all received something at the same time. Lin Bao-jun's crying suddenly froze. He suddenly remembered what the man said, that he would send the video to the Lin family. He immediately started to go crazy. Don't look, don't look. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 163. But how could he stop everyone? Lin Baoxi whispered from the side, "We are going to find the second sister." Even though Lin Bao-jun glared at her, she still didn't dare not tell the truth, but she didn't say that Lin Bao-jun was going to Yingwan to ask for money. And Lin Jiangguo and others have already seen the video. The video of Lin Bao-jun hanging on the tree is simply shocking. Most people would laugh like crazy when seeing this, but at this time, the Lin family looked extremely ugly. Kui Ziyufang trembled all over after watching the video. In the video, Lin Bao-jun cried so much that it felt as if he was cutting her flesh. She also started crying, "My poor Bao-jun, why have you suffered such injustice? God damn it! Who did it?" Yu Wenzi's face turned pale. "What's going on?" She looked at Lin Baoxi sternly. "Baoxi, tell me. Lin Baoxi was startled, and her voice also sounded crying, "We are going to find the second sister." "Why did you go to find her?" Lin Jiarui's expression turned ugly. "I told you already, she has nothing to do with our Lin family from now on. Why are you still looking for her?" Lin Baoxi didn't dare not say. "Brother said that the second sister shouldn't take half of the eldest sister's money. He wants to get it back." After saying this, Lin Jiangguo scolded, "Nonsense. It's just nonsense." His loud voice made everyone silence in fear. Lin Jiangguo looked at Lin Baojun and scolded sternly, "You are usually so pampered by your mother and others. Our Lin family has lost money to you because we haven't given you any money. You have to take half of the money. If you tell us, our Lin family will get it. How embarrassing is it?" Lin Baojun didn't dare to say anything, but Kui Ziyufang still protected him and stood up to argue for Lin Baojun. "I said I wanted to take the money. Originally, if she doesn't come back to the Lin family, why should she take it from our Lin family? The money, that money was earned by the boss, that's our Lin family's money. You guys are shameless. Do you want the Lin family to be shameless?" Lin Jiangguo glared at Kui Ziyufang. "If this matter spreads out, what do you think the outside world will say? If a member of his own blood does not come back, he will not come back. You have to get the money back. Are you really crazy? Lin Jiarui, is this how you take care of your son?" Lin Jiarui's body trembled. How dare he care? He didn't even want to take it back. It was his mother who said. Lin Baojun was also a little unconvinced. "Grandpa, you still care about this now? I am so humiliated by being hanged by others. Can our Lin family swallow this tone?" Yu Wenzi also said, "Yes, whether you want money or not is another matter. Baojun has suffered such great humiliation. Dad, you just turn a blind eye." Lin Jiangguo also glared at Yu Wenzi. It was hard to say anything about this daughter-in-law who had suffered from depression in order to give birth to a son. He only turned to Baoxi, who did this to Lin Baojun. "I do not recognize." Lin Baoxi sobbed, "We don't know who it is in that village. He won't let us enter the village. I just talked to him a few words, and that's it." Lin Baojun complained bitterly, "What's more, when I was bullied, the second sister came out to see me. She didn't care about me at all and talked to that man. She didn't have any sibling friendship with me. Mom, if you bring her back in the future, won't you kill me?" Kui Ziyufang trembled again. What a poisonous heart. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 164. Lin Jiangguo took a look at the video, but it still hurt his eyes, so he turned off the video again. He looked at the number with a gloomy look on his face. If others don't know, he can't help but know. If the other party dares to send the video, I don't know how big of a joke it will be if it is released. What's more, Lin Baojun ignored him. He only asked Lin Baoxi thoughtfully, "Does that person know your second sister?" Lin Baoxi also nodded, "I guess we know each other. I talked to the second sister. Judging from the appearance, the relationship is not ordinary." Kui Ziyufang immediately started shouting, "Did you hear it? Did you hear it? It's true that she was raised outside. She didn't care about her brother at all. She even joined forces with outsiders to bully her brother. She even hung Baojun from a tree for an hour. 1 hour. Lin Baojun showed his wrist at the right time and cried, "Grandma, look at my hand." His hand was hung for an hour and still had a layer of skin worn out. The key is that Silu was so vicious that he hung up and let go for a while, just to prevent Lin Baojun from passing out from too much pain. He was tortured both mentally and physically, and he was so angry that he wanted to go to heaven. "My precious grandson." Kui Ziyufang hugged Lin Baojun and cried. Yu Wenzi was so angry that her teeth itched and she pinched Lin Jiarui. Lin Jiarui could only look at Lin Jiangguo with a wry smile. "Dad, What about this? Go and find out who this person is first. Lin Jiangguo did not act rashly, and glared at Kui Ziyufang, don't go to that village, and don't cause trouble for her. She has never returned to our home, and now she is on the show. We are unreasonable, you know. Kui Ziyufang only looked at Lin Baojun with tears in her eyes, but in her heart she hated the second granddaughter she had never met. Lin Baojun's murder was all blamed on Yingwan. Yingwan didn't care if Lin Baojun had a fight with her family members when she went back. She was living comfortably in her own village. However, Lin Mei still called Yingwan. The tone on the phone was a little strange. I heard that Lin Baojun came to the village to look for you. Yingwan said casually, I only saw him from a distance. He was hanging on the tree, and I didn't see much clearly. Lin Mei. Yingwan said this lightly, and Lin Mei chuckled, I heard that he was taken care of, and his grandma even called me to file a complaint. I heard Lin Baoxi said that Lin Baojun was the one who caused the trouble. He needs to be taught a lesson. Who is Lin Baojun? A friend I know. Yingwan did not deny Si Lu's intention. Is there any reaction from the Lin family? How could I not? I was very angry when I called me. I said if you don't want the media to know about this matter, don't come to me, and then you calmed down a bit. He also asked her to teach Yingwan a lesson, but she didn't listen and hung up the phone. Anyway, the last time she broke out of the Lin family, she almost had a falling out, and she wasn't willing to deal with it now. Yingwan said oh and did not express any opinion on the matter. Lin Mei asked tentatively, will it have any impact on that person? I think with the extent of Lin Baojun's favor, Grandma Kazuo is probably going crazy. None of my business. Yingwan had no intention of getting involved in this matter. Lin Baojun offended Si Lu, not her. To her, how Si Lu dealt with Lin Baojun was just Si Lu dealing with a stranger who had nothing to do with her, so how could she care? Lin Mei responded, asked a few more questions, and hung up the phone. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 165. What do you mean? Su Xiao was also listening to the phone call here. In fact, the news of Lin Baojun's accident was not only known to the Lin family, but Lin Mei also received the video. She was still shocked and expressed her concern for this brother, and then learned the whole story from Lin Baoxi. As soon as she heard it, she immediately felt that Lin Baojun had not received enough lessons. Su Xiao cursed at the time, are you crazy? The contract is signed and it is your money. It has nothing to do with his Lin family. If you don't accept it, I will sue you. Your brother is really shameless. It's not enough to just hang him. I think Yingwan should go up and slap him twice. Lin Mei. Now that the phone call was made, Su Xiao asked Lin Mei what Yingwan meant. I don't know. That person should be her friend. He probably vented her anger. Lin Mei thought, Lin Baojun really doesn't know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is. He dares to provoke Wan Wan. Su Xiao, I like this kind of plot. I think your Lin family will be ruined by Lin Baojun sooner or later. He thought that having a son was a treasure, but he is just a straw bag. That's right, your family's IQ is all occupied by your sister Yingwan. It is understandable that other people are a little retarded. Lin Mei, I suspect you are attacking me. Su Xiao, you are talking nonsense. Lin Mei. What Lin Mei and Yingwan didn't expect was that Lin Baojun was really unwilling to accept it. He was humiliated, and what kind of video handle was in the hands of others? He was afraid that if he made it public, he would lose all his face. His grandmother Kui Ziyufang learned about the incident and sent several people to the village to find trouble with Si Lu. Since they were people in the village, they must be some unpresentable country folks, most of whom were villagers in the same group as Yingwan. But how could they dare to bully her grandson? As a result, before the group of people entered the village in the middle of the night, they were dealt with by Suhan and others who were waiting in the dark. After Suhan was interrogated, he was too lazy to care and threw it to Si-Lu to deal with. Of course, he was the one who dealt with the trouble he caused. Before it came to Miss Ying, the members of the special forces liked Si-Lu to deal with the Lin family directly, so that they and the country would not be in a dilemma. After all, in China, filial piety is still important. Si-Lu knew that the Lin family really sent people to cause trouble, which was exactly what he wanted, so he packed up and went to Shuicheng. In order to show that he gave Yingwan face, he went to the Lin family in person. So that day became Lin Baojun's nightmare for life. He was recovering at home and playing games leisurely when he saw his grandfather bringing back a man. That man was tall and had a handsome face, enough to make his same sex jealous to madness. Lin Baojun was not jealous. His mind was full of this man's smiling face, like a nightmare. Seeing him made him feel cold all over. Lin Baojun stood up and howled, "It's him, it's him. It's him who ordered people to tie me up." He didn't notice that his grandfather had greeted this man with a respectful look. After hearing this, the smile on his face froze immediately. Lin Baojun was completely unaware that he was yelling at his grandfather, "Grandpa, it's him, call the police to arrest him, it's him who ordered people to hang me up." Si-Lu's smile was like a demon, "Little brother, we meet again." Lin Baojun's legs and feet trembled because of these devilish words, and he fell to the ground. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 166. Lin Baojun was beaten half to death by Lin Jiangguo that night, and then sent abroad. No one expected that things would develop like this. Yu Wenzi and Kui Ziyufang found that their grandson, was sent away before they had time to cry. After the matter was uncovered, Lin Jiangguo even wanted to divorce Kui Ziyufang. It's funny to say that the root cause of this matter is not that Ying was late, but that Lin Baojun offended someone he shouldn't have offended. The Lin family was in chaos, and when Lin Baojun was sent abroad, Lin Mei received the news. Lin Mei and Su Xiao didn't expect that just one thing could get to this point. The key is that Lin Jiangguo usually loves his grandson, but he was willing to beat his grandson half to death and send him abroad. Going abroad was originally a plan, but I didn't expect it to be advanced now. After all, Lin Mei is still the daughter of the Lin family in name, so of course she has to go back to see what happened. After Bai Ya got the news, he called Yingwan decisively, Si-Lu is such a vicious bastard. Even your brother did this. Speaking of which, Bai Ya and Si-Lu are classmates, after all, they both went to school at Hardington. Because Yingwan and Si-Lu dislike each other, one is incredible that the other can be chosen by Yingwan to manage the company, and the other thinks that rich kids are really bastards, and Si-Lu is the best among them. When he was studying at Hardington, the second generation of the surrounding financial groups all followed Si-Lu's lead, which shows his appeal. Yingwan also received the news. After all, it is impossible to hide it from her. Yingwan was cooking, cutting cucumber slices in her hand and stuffing a slice into her mouth. Isn't this normal? If you send someone to cause trouble last night, you should know what the consequences will be. This shows that the Lin family is really hopeless. If you are calm, it won't come to this. Lin Jiangguo is quite wise. He beat Lin Baojun half to death and sent him abroad to save his grandson. Bai Ya, what's normal? He's your brother after all. Isn't he ignoring you? Yingwan, I can understand that you're targeting him because you don't have a good relationship with him, but if you really think so, I'll doubt your IQ now. Bai Ya, isn't this just a casual remark? Bai Ya was targeting Si-Lu. Of course, he knew that Yingwan wouldn't take this to heart. If she had intervened, the Lin family wouldn't be in such a mess now. The key is that there are a group of people outside who were originally hesitating whether to please the Lin family. Now that they see that the Lin family has offended Si Lu, Yingwan still doesn't care. They can probably figure out the direction of the situation and won't care. And everyone can see the difference. Lin Baojun and the Lin family have been affected, but it doesn't mean that Lin Mei has been affected. When she returned home, she saw a gloomy cloud. Grandma Kui Ziyufang covered her face and cried. Yu Wenzi's face was gloomy, and Lin Jiarui and Lin Jiangguo went to the company together. Lin Baoxi was also at home. She was the only one who participated in the whole process and stayed out of it, mainly because Si Lu didn't consider her at all. Su Xiao poked Lin Mei's elbow. Lin Mei hesitated, but still shouted, "Mom! Why did you come back? This happened because of you." Yu Wenzi was so angry now. Her beloved son was sent abroad, and Lin Jiangguo said that the person he offended was not to be messed with. If Lin Mei hadn't insisted on going to that variety show to find Yingwan, how could it have turned out like this? Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 167. Lin Mei's face suddenly turned pale, and Su Xiao was also extremely shocked. This hatred is so far-fetched that it can be dragged onto Lin Mei? How could your son get to this point without seeking death? Yu Wenzi looked at Lin Mei with hatred, and said in a trembling tone, "You have always been unconvinced that I like your brother, right?" "Yes, I will tell you clearly now, I just don't like you, and I don't like Yingwan either." "Who made you two daughters? If you had been a son, you wouldn't have had so many things happen. Don't you know how much I got looked down upon for giving birth to you? It was also very stressful for her to marry into the Lin family." Kui Ziyufang urged her so hard that Lin Jiarui could not speak. Lin Jiangguo was strong at home, and she was not a human being in the family. After giving birth to two daughters in a row, the Lin family was criticized outside, and Kui Ziyufang used the words to castrate evil on her. She was originally a pregnant woman and was in poor mental condition after giving birth. Lin Jiarui didn't dislike her in words, but he was looking for another woman outside, meaning that if he couldn't give birth, then don't delay him. She was forced to suffer from depression. As long as she thinks more clearly, she will know that the root cause of this matter is not her daughter. But most people will gradually become the people they hate the most. She hates Kui Ziyufang, and she hates Lin Jiarui's cowardice and lack of love for her. In the end, she was proud of having twins. Kui Ziyufang's attitude towards her changed, and Lin Jiangguo also treated her kindly and gave her and Lin Jiarui monetary rewards. She believed that all this was brought about by having a son. Naturally, she loved her son in every possible way. For her, all the hardships she had suffered were all due to Lin Mei and Yingwan. Seeing them seemed to remind her of the past when she was humiliated and oppressed. It was Lin Baojun. Let her raise her head. How did this make her fall in love with Lin Mei and Yingwan? If that daughter doesn't come back, she won't come back. The most important thing the Lin family lacks is a daughter. But she didn't expect that such a big disaster would happen today. If Lin Mei hadn't made a fuss about appearing on this variety show and not giving half of the money to Yingwan, Lin Baojun wouldn't want to get the money back. If he didn't want it, how could this happen? Lin Mei was so angry that she was shaking all over. Although she had expected it when she came back, hearing her mother say these words herself made her heart feel like it was being ripped out of her heart. The circles under his eyes turned red instantly. I knew it earlier that you preferred your younger brother and younger sister. I can tolerate your preference for them, but how could you inflict what they did on me? If you hadn't always used Lin Baojun to be lawless and careless about everything, how could he have done what he did today? If he had been smarter and more disciplined, do you think he would still be repeating a grade at the age of 20? You think it's great that you have a son. Who wouldn't laugh outside? I graduated from a prestigious school, and Baoxi also got admitted to the school of her dreams. If Lin Baojun was more successful, would you still think of sending him abroad? How come? Millions and tens of millions have been lost to him, shouldn't you have expected this? Lin Mei's tone became sharp when she said this, and her tears kept falling. Yu Wenza didn't listen, so she immediately picked up something and hit Lin Mei. Get out of here, get out of here. Kui Ziyufang also stood up and scolded Lin Mei, what a sin, why did I give birth to such a white-eyed wolf like you? Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 168. At this time, they still put all the responsibility on others. Seeing things thrown at them, Su Xiao quickly pulled Lin Mei away. You are all too excited. Let's talk about it later. We're leaving first. She pulled Lin Mei to leave, and Yu Wenza behind her was still shouting at her, get out of here, I'm no longer your mother. Don't come back and call me mom. If you don't want to come back, then don't come back. Lin Mei turned back and yelled when Su Xiao pulled her, and then she was pulled back by Su Xiao. Lin Mei cried as she walked, what's the big deal? I won't go back to this family. What's the big deal? Seeing her like this, Su Xiao could only sigh faintly. How did it come to this? If the Lin family had respected Lin Mei a little, not to mention how much love they gave her, it wouldn't have come to this. They spoiled Lin Baojun too much, and in the end, others had to bear the consequences of the things he caused. Although the Lin family is her parents, Su Xiao couldn't help but say, forget it, it's no big deal if you don't go back to this family. Aren't you ready to immigrate? As long as your affairs are not affected, don't worry about what happens to the Lin family in the future. Lin Mei laughed sadly, how can I care? No matter how I care, they think it's my fault. Your mother is still a new century woman. Su Xiao shook his head, in the final analysis, it's your grandparents' problem. Lin Mei was silent for a while, and the two of them went to the nanny car waiting outside. After getting in the car, Lin Mei wiped the tears and suddenly paused. Because of her professional sensitivity, she would notice it immediately if someone was secretly photographed. She just seemed to feel a flash of light. Damn. She glanced over there in an instant, and then hurried into the car. Even though she was crying, she realized that if today's incident was exposed, it would be another storm. She could have a falling out with the Lin family, but it would be absolutely ugly to tear this kind of thing up on the internet, especially now that there is Wan in the open, and people outside don't know how to speculate about the changes in the Lin family. Su Xiao was familiar with her reaction and immediately asked, someone secretly photographed it? She looked around and seemed to sense something. She immediately closed the car door and asked the driver to drive away. It's okay. After all, this is a villa area. I will check the news online. If there is any clue, I will suppress it as soon as possible. Lin Mei was silent for a while and said, this matter cannot be known by Ye and I. Otherwise, Ye and I will definitely take this opportunity to fan the flames. When mentioning Ye and I, Su Xiao sneered, she is really shameless for 1,000 years. How can she have the nerve to break the news that she was originally considered for the role of Shijian Ren? Several press releases have been issued. Isn't she afraid of being slapped in the face by the official? Although they don't know whether it is true or not, after all, the other party directly contacted Lin Mei, so what does Ye and I have to do with it? Until now, many of her fans are clamoring that Lin Mei has robbed Ye and I's resources. After all, in their eyes, except Ye and I, who has the ability to get such resources, it seems that no one else can do it. At this moment, a message came from Lin Mei's mobile phone, and she suddenly paused. Su Xiao took a look and asked, what's wrong? Wan said she would send me something, I don't know why, but my heart, which was extremely angry just now, calmed down a little. Lin Mei smiled and said, she said she made some pickled vegetables and asked me if I wanted to eat them. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 169. The pickled radish that Yingwan made a few days ago is almost ready. She made a fresh batch first, and the time was short, so the taste was different. It was a big jar full, so she spent the whole day peeling radishes during the live broadcast. I went door to door and delivered half a can to the village, and then started making braised meat. Braised food takes a long time to make and the process is cumbersome, so you should make more at once. After it was finished, it was still sent to Aunt Wang and Aunt He's family, as well as the village chief's grandfather. First, the pork trotters, chicken feet, and duck feet were boiled to perfection. They were already very tasty and melted in just one sip. The indescribable and wonderful taste melted in your mouth. The taste and aroma of the meat were simply unforgettable. Everyone got an equal share of the sauce-colored pot of braised meat. After Yingwan sent it to the village chief's grandpa's house, the village chief's grandpa sincerely praised him. Wan, your craftsmanship is really better than your grandpa's. A young man is better than a good man. If your grandfather saw you so capable, he would be very happy. Yingwan just smiled faintly. The village chief's grandpa brought in the braised meat delivered by Yingwan. The aroma was wafting from house to house in the village. Sci-Lu just came back from the imperial capital. He smelled the smell and walked out of nowhere. He asked Yingwan, "What delicious food did you make again?" He usually doesn't go here shamelessly every day. He knows very well what it means to be relaxed and relaxed. If it is tightened, it will only make people bored. You need to have a proper sense of proportion so that you won't offend others. Made braised food. Yingwan was really easy to talk to today. She said, "I've made a lot. Do you want to eat it?" She even gave some to Suhan and the others. Of course, Sci-Lu nodded without hesitation. After Yingwan delivered the things, he went back and was ready to eat. In addition to the braised vegetables, he also fried a portion of green vegetables and poured them with a special sauce. The slightly bitter green vegetables were completely combined with the bitter taste and tasted very good. Delicious with rice. Still sitting in the courtyard, Sci-Lu ate with restraint and was satisfied. After all, the food is not very good in the countryside, and only here in Yingwan can you have a good meal. In order to satisfy the appetite, Sci-Lu has transferred 2 chefs from the imperial city. Specially take care of him in the countryside. So there is always a way, as long as you have the money. The little black dog was also spinning around next to them. It was not big enough to eat big bones now, but could only chew some small bones. The bones of chicken feet and duck feet were just right. It lay at Yingwan's feet and ate happily. Yingwan's good cooking skills can also be seen through Xiaohe. The originally thin body became a little plump after being raised by Yingwan for a few days. The fur is shiny, and the pitiful appearance when he first arrived is almost gone. Even the chickens that were left free in the land are gradually growing up, and each of them is very energetic, very suitable for killing and making roasted chicken in the future. While Sci-Lu was eating, he saw Yingwan packing a few packages in the corner. It didn't look like anything precious, otherwise she wouldn't have put them here, so he raised his chin and asked softly, "What are those?" Yingwan said, "Pickled radish, I sent it to them." Sci-Lu asked casually, "For your sister?" "Well, there are also Bai Ya and the others." They were all familiar to him, so Silu smiled and said, "Are there many?" "My dad also wants to try what you make." Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 170. Si Guanyi also watched Yingwan's live broadcast. But he was busy and didn't watch more. After watching a few edited versions, he didn't remember anything else, but he remembered that Yingwan's cooking skills were extraordinary. The edited version of her cooking was simply a visual enjoyment. Si Guanyi was very surprised that a genius like Yingwan could cook, and cook so well. Unconsciously, he wanted to try Yingwan's cooking skills. Unfortunately, he didn't have much chance. Hearing this, Yingwan was not stingy and nodded, "Okay, there are more, just some pickled radishes." For someone like Si Guanyi, he probably hasn't eaten these things. You think too much, as long as it's made by you, he will definitely like it. You are a good cook, who wouldn't be happy to eat it? Si Lu almost finished eating and put down his bowl and chopsticks. When he remembered, Si Guanyi had asked him, "You attacked the Lin family, aren't you afraid that Yingwan will remember you?" After all, the Chinese still put filial piety first. Some things don't mean that she doesn't care. But Si Lu felt that his father was wrong. If Yingwan said she didn't care about something, then she definitely didn't care about it. What kind of people are the Lin family? Are they worthy of her care? Their only contribution in this life was to give birth to Yingwan. It was because of this that he didn't do anything too extreme. Otherwise, if Lin Baojun had caused trouble for Yingwan and wanted to make trouble for him, it would be impossible for him to go abroad and stop. "Okay, you can send it back to him later." After dinner, Yingwan packed another package for Si Lu's father. There were a lot of soaked radishes, so there was no need to worry about not having enough to eat. She gave all the packages to Suhan and the others, and they knew how to send them out. She also sent some to some professors who she got along well with. After Yingwan contacted Lin Mei and asked her to give him an address to send it to, he checked Weibo again. This time, I saw an interview clarification from the crew of The World that became a hot search. This interview was with the director, and the questions were mainly about the preparations for the drama The World, as well as some post-production arrangements including investment. Of course, they also asked about the recent online buzz that other actresses such as Ye and I were also invited. Unexpectedly, Mao Shifeng was too straightforward. "What other actresses are there?" At the beginning, we never said who to invite. In the end, we directly said to invite Lin Mei. We didn't consider other actresses. As for Lin Mei, the main reason was that her image was also in line with. After all, he was paid, so Mao Shifeng still praised Lin Mei. Her acting skills can be adjusted, and she is still beautiful, which is quite in line with the character of the heroine. So the spectators were shocked again, which means that there is no such thing as snatching or not. They didn't consider you. Lin Mei is really the chosen one. Yingwan smiled after reading the clarification and left Weibo, not seeing that there was another heavy news later. Lin Mei's matter and the clarification by the Ji family. When many people who were watching the show said that they were too shocked, a small account registered by an unknown person broke the news. After this news was dug out, it quickly spread all over the internet. Anonymous news: there is no such thing as a rich flower, or a young lady, the sponsor is attracted to her. After all, the other party is WT, custom-made clothes for the younger sister, and large-scale production for the older sister. WT is really rich and powerful. People who were watching the show. What kind of big news is this?